The night started like any other high-profile appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Mark Wahlberg stepped onto the stage to a raucous round of applause, his signature smirk in place radiating his usual confident charm. Fallon met him with his typical high-energy slapping hands, joking about Wahlberg's intense fitness regimen, and referencing old SNL skits where Mark's tough guy persona had been parodied. The audience was loving it. It was the kind of comfortable, playful banter that Fallon had built his late-night empire on. The first few minutes were filled with laughter, clips from Wahlberg's new film, and humorous anecdotes about his early days in Hollywood. But things took an unexpected turn when Fallon pivoted the conversation toward Wahlberg's controversial past, including some run-ins with the law as a teenager. Asterisk at first. Mark took the questions in stride, acknowledging his troubled youth with a mix of humility and regret. He's spoken about this before, how he found redemption through faith, family, and hard work. But Fallon's line of questioning didn't stop there. He pressed further, asking whether Mark ever felt like he got a free pass from the public and the media. Considering the severity of his past actions, Wahlberg's demeanor shifted. Smile faded slightly, and he paused before answering. "I've taken responsibility," he said. "I've done the work, and I continue to do it every day." Fallon nodded, but he wasn't done. "Some people argue that your celebrity status helped you escape harsher consequences. Do you think that's fair?" The tension was subtle but growing. Asterisk Wahlberg's voice grew firmer. "You know, Jimmy, I've never denied what I did, but I've tried to be better ever since. I've supported my community, mentored young people, donated millions. Does that count for nothing?" Fallon, perhaps sensing the discomfort, but trying to maintain the provocative energy, responded, "But do you ever worry that those efforts are seen as image repair instead of genuine redemption?" The question visibly irritated Wahlberg. "Man, I didn't come here to be psychoanalyzed. I thought we were going to talk about the movie." The audience grew quiet. Fallon chuckled awkwardly, trying to pivot back to the film promotion, but the mood had shifted. Wahlberg folded his arms, his jaw tightened, and the warmth that once filled the room seemed to vanish. Asterisk still, Fallon tried to recover. "I think it's just something people are curious about. Like, can someone truly move past who they were?" Wahlberg leaned forward slightly. "Everyone's got a past. Your lucky yours didn't make headlines. Yeah, I've worked my whole life to move forward. But maybe that's not good enough for late-night TV." The audience gasped slightly. Fallon raised his hands in mock surrender. "Hey, I didn't mean to offend you, Mark. I'm just asking questions." But the damage was done. Wahlberg shook his head. "There's a line, Jimmy, and tonight you crossed it." He reached down and unclipped his microphone. Asterisk for a moment. Fallon looked genuinely stunned. "Mark, wait. Can we just talk about the movie a bit more?" he asked, scrambling for a way to salvage the interview. Wahlberg stood up calmly, smoothed his jacket, and said, "I'm not here for clickbait. If you want to have a real conversation, maybe next time." With that, he walked off the stage. The band, caught off guard, didn't play the usual outro music. Fallon stood awkwardly, staring off stage before quickly cutting to commercial. Audience remained silent, stunned by what had just unfolded. It wasn't a dramatic shouting exit, but the quiet seriousness of it all made it even more powerful. Asterisk by the time the show ended. Clips of the incident had already begun circulating online. Within hours, hashtags like #WahlbergWalkOff and #FallonFumble were trending. Comment sections were divided. Some applauded Mark for standing up for himself, saying Fallon had crossed a personal boundary. Others criticized Wahlberg for being too sensitive, arguing that as a public figure, he should be prepared for difficult questions. Think pieces followed, examining whether late-night TV should stay light or push into deeper, sometimes uncomfortable territory. Fallon's interview style, usually light and affable, suddenly being scrutinized under a harsher lens. Asterisk the next morning. Wahlberg released a short statement through his publicist. "I believe in growth, accountability, and second chances. I went on the show to talk about my work, not to relive my worst mistakes. I stand by my decision to walk away." Meanwhile, Fallon remained quiet until the next episode aired. During his monologue, he briefly addressed the situation, saying, "Sometimes interviews go in directions you don't expect. I respect Mark. and I hope we can have him back under better circumstances. The comment was received with mixed reactions. Some saw it as too little too late. Others appreciated his attempt to move forward with grace. Asterisk, behind the scenes, rumors swirled about strained relations between Wahlberg's team and The Tonight Show producers. Some speculated that Wahlberg might avoid late-night interviews altogether for a while. Entertainment insiders debated whether this incident would impact the film's box office performance, but if anything, the moment only raised the film's profile. Audiences were suddenly more curious than ever. Wahlberg, in subsequent interviews with other outlets, refused to speak about the Fallon moment directly. "I said what I said," he told one interviewer. "Let's move on." His refusal to dwell on the drama only fueled its mystique. Asterisk, weeks later, fans still talked about the walk-off. For some, it became a symbol of reclaiming dignity in a media world obsessed with scandal and spectacle. For others, it was a missed opportunity for a deeper dialogue about redemption and responsibility. Either way, Mark Wahlberg reminded the world that he isn't afraid to walk away when a line is crossed. In doing so, he transformed an awkward late-night moment into a powerful statement of self-respect, one that no scripted promo or polished press tour could ever manufacture.